Okay, it says live. Let's see what it's actually doing. Yeah. There, that's better. Okay. We are actually live. Ladies and gentlemen, I have grown old in your service. Old to the point where I need bifocals. It is what it is. In the meantime, I've got these. The doctor recommended against the bifocals because I'm, quote, blur tolerant. Well, I'm blur tolerant without the glasses on. I am blur tolerant with the glasses off, but not with them on. Ghost, happy other birthday. I thought Fix was going to do that, and she thought I was going to do it, so we fixed it. All right. So, going to catch up on the chat. Luke. And Squatch. Good evening. Ghost is here tonight. I thought he'd be celebrating. Although, if I recall correctly, you don't drink, or you don't drink that much, so you'd be sober celebrating. So, happy birthday to the Marine Corps, which is today. I got a little secret for the world, and unfortunately, Ghost is here to hear it, so I get along better with Marines than I do Coasties. I don't know why. I, over the years, have met almost as many Marines as I have Coasties. I've gotten along with about 2/3 of the Coasties. And out of the 2,300, I think it is, Marines I've met, I've had a problem with 4. The 4th one was relatively recent, and he's got some issues that I did not hear about beforehand, or I would have avoided him. He's just an asshole. He was before and he was after. The other 3, alcohol was a factor at the time. We all know somebody who shouldn't drink. That's it. 4 Marines out of 2,300-ish. There's been more Coasties at any one given command that I didn't get along with. I don't know why. It's just something about Marines. They're different, and I got that message before I even went in the service. First Marine I ever met, and I'm only going to refer to him as Gunnery Sergeant Mark E. Totally different type of person, and I don't even get it. Squatch is saying, I once got beat down by a Marine woman. It was great. Yeah, I believe you. Well, half of that I believe. The other half I think was only about half true. How many bruises did you get? Okay, that's it for that part. He's not here to defend himself, so I'm not going to name names. But there is a certain individual who has been saying some things about the Rittenhouse trial. I wanted to talk about the Rittenhouse trial. I'm going to do that first. This shit show's over, Mr. DA, Mr. Binger. The shit show's over. The judge is about to get the hook. All right? Just stop. Just stop before you do something that can't be undone permanently. I got I downloaded the 56 minutes and I think it's 13 seconds of Kyle on the stand today. But I also got about a 2-minute part where something very strange and unusual in this universe happened. The judge raised his voice. Now, he didn't use any bad words that I heard. Apparently there was some sort of motion at some point where X thing would not be discussed. And the judge actually had to concede that he had said I would decide later. The door had been left open. The judge had to concede that, yes, I left the door open, but I would decide if that door would be opened. Sorry, guys. There's a new name in the chat. Quincy Fuckles. You scare me a little bit. He says I scare him a little bit. A very interesting choice of words, Mr. Fuckles. Okay. Where was I? The judge said I would decide if that door was opened. You know, a little thing about courtroom. You see, Law and Order and Perry Mason and all that. They'll raise their voice and theatrics. But judges and attorneys do not raise their voices to each other in the real world in the courtroom. They don't do that. The courtroom is an absolute civility zone. I'm not even allowed in most courtrooms because I can't fucking watch my language. That's the truth. So for the judge to raise his voice and start shouting at the DA, and I said shouting because he was shouting. Whoa, Hims is mad. As Luke says in the chat, that judge was pissed. All right. I'd been considering filing a complaint with the Wisconsin Bar Association over this whole shot him in the back thing from opening statements. At this point, I don't know if it's worth it. They're going to have a pile of complaints against this guy so high, they won't even bother reading them all. Yeah, it's that bad. But I want to talk about the rest of the shit show, and I'm going to go back to the opening statements. Even in the opening statements, you could see that this thing was not going well. The DA holds up I believe he held up an AR-15, and he says, Mr. Rittenhouse is running around with this, chasing people with this. A lot of people had one of these that day, but only one of them fired. Yeah, so a lot of people drive around in cars. Most of us stop for the stop sign. Nobody said Kyle didn't stop for the stop sign. Can you believe this? It got worse. I thought it was bad enough when that first detective, and I didn't catch his name, I'm sorry, testified, no, he didn't actually shoot the guy in the back. He shot the guy, he fell forward, and that's when the bullet did hit his back. So no, he wasn't shooting the guy in the back. It was in the front. The bullet just happened to connect in the back. That happens. That does just fucking happen. I'll get to that, Quincy. Hold up. Yeah, that guy. This is wannabe bomber. I can't remember his name. The one that was running around with the bag, shouting some words that you can't use on YouTube unless you have the video from the courtroom. That guy. The first detective said no, he didn't shoot him in the back. Quincy says, wow, I can read the chat from back here. I do need my glasses. All right, Quincy Fuckles asked, didn't the one witness even admit he pointed a gun at Kyle? That would be, the fuck is his name? The only one that survived. You know, that happens. And yes, it got worse, actually. Let's talk about it. Just keeps getting worse. That guy's own version of events basically boils down to this. I pointed my gun at Kyle. Kyle pointed his back at me, and I lost my arm. And it basically went that fast. Gauge something. That's right. Thank you, Squatch. And yeah, he got his bicep blown off, as Quincy points out. Luke says that doesn't matter. His handgun was a better choice at that range. I'm not going to sit here and Monday morning quarterback choice of weapons. All right, I'm not going to do it. What seems to have been not yet mentioned in court is this is not day one of the riots. This is day two of the riots. I didn't even know this until today. Kyle and the rest of them weren't even there to save the cars. The cars were already gone. They were trying to save the building, which is, yeah, I don't know. Well, okay, I know this much. The building I want to build is going to be about $500,000. And it is out in the butt-fuck nowhere of nowhere. All right? I know because that's why I picked that spot. Even for this nowhere town, that's nowhere. They put other stuff out there to have it outside of town. Without getting into the details too much, it's next to an air park. All right, and the air park isn't even manned for the most part. They only man it when they have to. People land there all the time with no tower to connect to. They call ahead and say, hey, I'm going to be landing at, I don't know, about 8 in the morning, 8:30 in the morning. Okay, so land safe. That's how small that air park is. The town, you can literally walk from one end to the other. I know because I've done it. In fact, I would usually walk from one end of the town to the other because it was faster than driving. Well, no, that's not true. If you caught the town's one light as a green, it would be faster to drive through town. That's about it. Oh, I'm sorry, I got off onto a tangent there. If my little shit nowhere building is going to be about $500,000, then this building must have been worth at least $2, $3, $4 million. That's the truth. Would you believe it got worse? Somebody dropped this in the chat. Who was the guy running around? Shoot me. Shoot me. Can't say that word on YouTube. But that guy set a dumpster on fire. Okay. A dumpster because of trash and shit in it, you could theoretically turn it into about a 2-pound bomb. A 2-pound bomb is nothing. Like, hand grenade is more powerful than that. But if you use that 2-pound bomb as a detonator, like point it at a gas station and make that 2-pound bomb set the fuel tanks off, it could have turned into a 2-ton bomb. Flag on the play. I've worked in gas stations. I know how gas station equipment actually works. No, that plan was stupid. It would never have worked. But Kyle didn't know that. And dumbass didn't know that. And for all we know, yeah, that was his plan. His very, very stupid plan that would never have worked, but it might have set the gas station on fire. And that would have been a very, very bad thing. Quincy, I see the question. I'll get back to you in a minute. All right. All right. Luke says, I don't know you, but I was just saying. What did I miss? Oh, I know you don't, but I was just saying. Okay. So anyway, yeah, there was a reason they took the ARs with them. This was day 2. The cars were already gone. They were trying to save what was left, which was the building. And now this dumb jackass is running around trying to blow up a gas station. I didn't say he was very smart. All right. I said he was trying anyway. That was a really, really stupid plan. But that does appear to have been at least the intent he wanted people to think. And that seems to be what Kyle was responding to. This guy's attempt to blow up the entire goddamn neighborhood. It gets... I'm going to get tired of saying these words. Can you believe it got worse? Kyle didn't shoot him at first. He just ran over and tried to put the dumpster either out or knock it away. What I saw was Kyle trying to move it so that it wouldn't be aimed at the gas station anymore. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I missed something. I admit that. And I'm talking about something that happened over a year ago, so I could have forgotten that part. And that's when dumbass tried to start the big fight with him while he's swinging a bag around in an environment where they had seen Molotov cocktails used the day before. What the fuck did you think he thought that was? If it had been a Molotov cocktail, his plan to blow up the gas station, maybe it wouldn't have been as stupid as it sounds. It wasn't. We know that now. Shit, I didn't even know that until a month later. I thought sure that bag was a Molotov and that he was getting ready to throw it. Oh well, I was wrong. So was Kyle. But so was dumbass. My theory is he wanted somebody to take him out. He wanted the cops to take him out. He didn't get the cops. He got some 17-year-old kid. All right. There, I've said it. This was a suicide run. And he got what he was looking for. I'm going to get really tired of saying the words, can you believe it gets worse? And I don't know another way to put this. So, can you believe it gets worse? Once dumbass had gotten what he was aiming for, skateboard. I know I've heard skateboard's name. Skateboard and Gage decide that they're going to go start something with Kyle as payback for their buddy dying. Or, well, their buddy getting shot. I don't know what they knew at this point. They knew he'd been shot. Quincy points out that on the stand under oath, Gage actually confessed. You cannot admit, okay, you can admit to a crime. You cannot confess to a non-crime. But he confessed, which is admission of a crime, that he pointed his gun at Kyle, and then Kyle pointed his gun back. And that's how it went down. At about that point is when Binger should have just said, you know what? I'm done. I can't do this. This one's over. I need to just cut my losses on this one. No. No such self-reflection there. No. Instead, he continues on with the trial. There is a rule amongst defense attorneys. This is law 101, trial law 101. Do not allow your client to take the stand if you know he's guilty. Guess who took the stand today? Oh no, say it ain't so. Kyle took the stand. Now, that rule, that trial rule 101, it's not a universal thing. It's not an absolute. You have a right to remain silent. And if you're guilty and your lawyer has any common sense at all, he's going to advise you to use it and not take the stand. And the judge has to then tell it doesn't have to, but they typically do tell the jury they are not to infer anything from the fact that the defendant did not take the stand. He's not required to. I'm amazed that it's even gotten to this point, because maybe this happened and I didn't see it, but there is a way to have the case dismissed with prejudice attached. I'll get to that in a minute if anybody reminds me. The case is just gone because the prosecution failed to make their case. And oh my God, did they fail to make their case. They were already showing that they couldn't make their case in the opening statement. Why did Kyle shoot somebody and nobody else did? I don't know, because they weren't in a position to do so. Because they didn't get caught in that spot. A million other things. Okay. Flag on the play. I've got to tell one of Papa Carey's stories. All right. So him and his Marines were going through the jungle one day. And they just happened to stumble upon a Viet Cong sentry. The guy's just standing there, right? And he's doing everything he's supposed to be doing correctly, all right? He just couldn't see these, I think it's 12 Marines, because the foliage and everything else that happens in the universe, that's his bad luck. The Marines are signaling to each other, look over there. They all look over, and there's this guy. So all 12 of them opened up, including the M60 guy. Let's see. Well, let's just say one clip each, times 20. Okay, that's about 24, plus the M60. Oh, excuse me, 240. Plus the M60, you know what? Let's just say 200. 400 rounds all going at this one guy. To hear Papa Carey tell it, they basically mowed that lawn and, chopped all the trees down. They became lumberjacks. When they stopped firing, the Viet Cong was still standing there, looked at them, took off, ran away. Smart. And this is just the way things sometimes happen. 400 rounds later, not a single one had hit him. Weird shit happens sometimes. And when it's not your time, it's not your time. Okay, I'm going to catch up with chat. Quincy. Okay, let's try it that way. That one is Coast Guard Battle Flag. I was a Coastie from 1999 to 2014. That one, that is a generic Christian chapel flag. Okay, Quincy asked, do you think Gage's gun was unloaded? No. Absolutely not. Right? And forget about people saying there was a round in the chamber. I don't give a shit. Right? I do not for a moment believe that his gun was unloaded. Or maybe airsoft replica gun. If it was, that's news to me. Because he didn't return fire after being shot because he didn't have half of his arm. He couldn't shoot back. And there are times when I'm glad chat is not always in the video. I'm not going to read that one out loud, but no, he was not busy with that particular activity. He was busy. Actually, you know what? I want to give Gage a little bit of credit. After the injury he sustained, he managed to retain control of his weapon. And Gage, you do have that little bit of respect out of me. You're a worthless piece of shit. All right? I would say, Luke has heard me say these words. He's seen me write these words. You should seek a permanent solution to your temporary problems there, Gage. But you do have my respect insofar as you managed to hold on to that gun. All right, Luke says, all of this could have been avoided if some word I can't say would have just complied with the police. I don't like using that kind of language, and Squatch has heard me use that kind of language before. But somebody remind me. This is the guy that tried to stab his girlfriend and then was climbing into I'm sorry, not stab his girlfriend. Beat his girlfriend and then was starting to climb into the truck, right? Quincy says, like the cornfield at Antietam. No, Squatch. It is the Civil War. I don't allow that game here. You should know better. For the sake of any future viewers, there's 3 terms in reference to the events of 1861 to 1865. I stick to the words Civil War, period, end of discussion. It's a whole lot about what was going on then that was not okay on both sides. Don't lull me. Okay, moving on. Okay, I can lull myself. Moving on. Ooh, excuse me a moment. I'm not used to wearing these yet. Yeah, Quincy. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, this hangs on my bulkhead because I joined the Coast Guard. All right. And I joined the Coast Guard because I thought it would be, if I joined the Coast Guard, I could get assigned to a patrol boat river unit in Bosnia. That's what was going on at the time I walked through the recruiter's door that first time. While I was at boot camp was the Dayton Peace Accord. So you can kind of figure out the dates from there. I wanted to go. I really, really actually wanted to go. By the way, while I was at boot camp, no, just before I got to boot camp, Fixed Bayonets was actually in Bosnia getting a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star with V. I really hate her sometimes. She doesn't even brag about it. I brag about it for her. And yeah, she earned it. All right. Luke says, I'm sorry, you are correct. If the word I can't say wouldn't have been a piece of shit, none of this would have happened. Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah. All right. Hey, folks, here's a pro tip for life. All right. Don't beat your girlfriend. But if you do, don't be surprised if the cops show up. But if you're still surprised when the cops show up, don't be surprised if you get shot in the back reaching for a knife in your car. There, I said it. And I'm not even the least bit embarrassed, upset, ashamed, anything. Hey, Alpine, you're just in time to see me say some things I probably shouldn't say. And I don't care. I'm actually watching my language tonight. I've been trying to avoid my F-bombs. And I don't mean fuck either. I do not feel in the least bit bad for that guy. All right. As much as my assessment of Baggy Boy, the fuck is his name? Wasn't one of you going to drop in the chat the name of Baggy Boy? As much as my assessment of him is a suicide by other means, I gotta wonder if the guy that set this whole thing off wasn't the same thing. So, there's the events of the night, and how the trial has kept getting worse and worse for the prosecution. Cheese Bear. Oh, hi, Cheese. I know you from Squatch's channel. Somebody explain this to me and use small words. Not because I don't understand the big words, but because I don't want to try to think for once. How can you be that stupid and still survive? Well, I'm not seeing a whole lot of answers in the chat, so I'm going to push on. All right. So we're 30 minutes in, and he's not here to defend himself, but I'm going to say some things about some things. There is a common practice for a double tap. shoot twice, and then keep shooting if you have to. And earlier this evening, actually sometime while Drew was live streaming, I saw a comment along the lines that either he was not trained or he panicked or something, and only divine providence could have helped poor little Kyle. Bullshit. All right. When you are the one who has the gun pointed at you, or you are the one pointing the gun back, you make a whole lot of fucking decisions really goddamn quick. In my life, I have pepper sprayed somebody once. I've thought about it 2 other times. And I have pointed a gun at somebody once. That's it. That's all the worst that's ever had to get. I did have to hit somebody with my my trench knife, folding trench knife one night. For those of you that know, I sleep with brass knuckles on. Well, yeah, but before it was the brass knuckles, it was the folding trench knife, and there was no rig for that. I just had to learn how to hold on to it all night long. One night, I had to use it. And when you're the one who is in that situation, you have to make a whole lot of very serious decisions real quick, faster than you realize you made them. That little story I told you earlier about Papa Carey and his Marines? Okay, well, that's fine. They all got that 2-3 minutes or 30 seconds or whatever it was. Doesn't even matter, because that poor Viet Cong just didn't see them. And that's as simple as that. 9 times out of 10, you won't have any kind of time to think. You just have to start acting now. You are already behind the curve. In particular point, Kyle was behind that curve with Gage. He had the gun pointed at him. How Kyle is alive right now, I do not know. I assume Gage just hesitated. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more further on down the line. Now, Kyle's got to make this very serious decision right now. He's already too late. He took one shot. He took the one shot he had. If you want to go through the Rittenhouse school of street shooting, you go right ahead. And then you tell me you did any better than he did. All right. I'm going to catch up with chat for a second, because there's a couple of comments I think I missed. Okay. Just the one. Caucasian Sasquatch says, I'm impressed that he didn't mow down 20 people. He could have gone that way. No. I assume you're referring to Kyle, and no. He's got something that I have, but doesn't work very well, and Gage apparently never had, and Shoot Me clearly was incapable of. The conscience. My own conscience has been beaten up over the years. Okay, Cheese Bear said, agreed, Caucasian, great restraint. Yeah, well, great restraint or basic humanity, you decide. Cheese Bear says he sleeps with a 9mm. Yeah, but do you sleep with it in your hand? I sleep with my brass knuckles in my hand. Phenomenal muzzle and trigger discipline was Squatch's comment. And then he lost his conscience in a freak boating accident. And Luke says, lol, just picked up a 57. Okay. Luke, I know what that means. And message me. I've heard some incredible things about the 57. Very interesting things. Curious to hear your opinion. Okay, moving on. Now, this individual who made the comment about Kyle's training or lack of, y'all notice there's a pinned comment. He said he can't make it because he has to be up at 04:30, which is 02:30 my time. I think. Pretty sure it's 02:30. Let me get right to the point there, though. I don't care. If you think you can do better in the situation that he was in, do it. Otherwise, my opinion is that he did the absolute best he could under the situation. He didn't have the time to tell 11 other guys, hey, check that out. All right. He had to be acting about 10 seconds earlier. So he did the best he could where he was with what he had, which wasn't a whole hell of a lot. All right. We're at minute 3:05. It's close enough. I'm going to say something else about that shooting. And this is going to be the hottest take you'll ever hear. I think they targeted Kyle. And I don't think that Chuckle Boy was intending to set fire to the gas station. I don't think he was intending to blow up the gas station. I think he wanted everybody to think he was getting ready to do that. Yeah, possibly. He might have wanted people to think that. I think they targeted Kyle because he's overweight and he had an AR-15 and they wanted him and that gun. And their plan was to do something to force him to come away from the building where they could surround him like a shark attack. I'm not going to go so far as to say they definitely intended to kill him. They definitely intended to injure him, and if he died as a result of the injuries, so what? They didn't care. And then they'd have an AR-15. And if you think I'm crazy, think about what happened in Portland just 2 weeks? Maybe it was 3 weeks earlier. When they set fire to the police cruisers and took the guns out of that. By the way, I learned just earlier today, there were 2 guns that they took. If there was 2, that means they knew what they were doing. This wasn't just a lucky chance occurrence. I'm not going to go into details, although, yeah, I think Luke. Let me see. Maybe there's somebody else I can. Quincy, are you on Discord? Oh, my bad. Ghost, if you're still on, I just made a rather bold statement. I believe that they knew exactly what they were doing and that they stole the guns and that they knew how to steal the guns. And if they got two, they got more. There's still at least one Portland Police AR-15 floating around out there somewhere. I don't know where. I don't know what vehicle it was taken from. And for all I know, Portland Police themselves don't know that it's still out there. They think it was destroyed in the fire, and they're mistaken in that belief. And I will prove it to those. I'll prove it to Luke. Ghost, if you're still out there, I'll prove it to you too. I believe that there's at least one more still out there. They figured out that this was a really, really good tactic. Hit something that they think is easy to take, in Kenosha, it was they thought it was this fat kid that they could get isolated. In Portland, it was the patrol cruisers. That the cop is over there getting his ass kicked right now. The vehicle is unprotected. So I'll take the gun from the cruiser, set fire to it, and they'll think the gun was destroyed in the fire. Oh, hey, that's a great plan. And it is. I give them credit. That is actually a pretty good plan. And it almost completely worked. Luke, I think Luke is trolling me here. He asks, I have a question. Do you think if Kyle gets off, he'll get the ammo back also? No. No, I don't think they're going to give him his ammo back. I do believe that gun is going to go back to whoever the last registered owner was before it was confiscated as evidence. And it better go back to the last registered owner before it was confiscated as evidence. And where it goes from there, I give no fucks. I seriously give less than 0 fucks. There's been an allegation that Kyle stole the gun, or an aspersion or something. I didn't hear that in the testimony that was given. This was by Dominic Black, by the way. The closest to this we get is the gun was being stored in a safe. Dominic's stepdad took the guns from the safe. Okay. All right. Brought them into the house. Kyle showed up, and then he had the gun in his hand, was going topside as Dominic was coming down, if I understood the testimony correctly. Dominic sees Kyle with the gun and actually did have to say out loud that he didn't give Kyle permission to take the gun. He never said anything to that effect. He also had said he never heard anybody else give permission for Kyle to have the gun. That's as far as stealing the gun as he comes. All right, he grabbed the gun that he knew was going to be his eventually in a situation where he's been asked to be armed. I'm not seeing where it was stolen here. I mean, it's not like he's at Dominic's house to watch Netflix and chill, right? He knows why he's there. He's been asked to protect this business. So what's the problem? And apparently one of the few things that Mr. Binger has done right is not draw any more attention to the fact that, yeah, he had the gun. That's it. Big deal. All right, there is a small issue. As the testimony has been going along, it's come out that, well, this was going to be, the weapon was going to be transferred from Dominic's possession to Kyle's. Now, there's a strict letter of law thing that allows a private party transfer. Do not take that statement as legal advice, because what legal advice I would give you is what's going to follow here. Assume for the sake of argument that had happened. That AR-15 was last registered to Dominic's name. It legally transfers from Dominic's to Kyle's without paper. First of all, you cannot do that across state lines. That is illegal. But second of all, let's just assume Kyle moved to Kenosha. Sure, people do that sort of thing all the time. And then all this went down. And now Kenosha police have a gun that is registered in Dominic's name that was used by Kyle in a criminal matter. You cannot avoid two words here that will come up. Straw purchase. And I got some news for y'all. That's the way the ATF will see it as well. You don't believe me. I don't give a shit. There's a man in prison right now. Michael something. Too many fucking Michaels in my life. Anyway, his name is Michael. He was the one that bought the two AR-15s that were used in the San Bernardino Regional Center shooting. Oh, damn. That's going to hurt, isn't it? Worse still is, yeah, there were actually some questions about transferring that weapon to those people under any circumstances. All right, that's the truth. If it hadn't have been for those circumstances, his transfer of that gun would have actually been technically legal under federal law. I'm not sure California state law at the time. Here is the real. If you do not get that transfer done properly, it doesn't even matter if nothing else happens. It's going to blow up in your face. I don't talk about it very much because it's usually not relevant, but my first gun was the Smith & Wesson 4006. Papa Carey recommended it to me because that particular model of gun had just been adopted about 6 months earlier, maybe a year earlier, by California Highway Patrol. You could even order clips for that gun. They had the red base plate on it. I thought that's stupid. Why would you get a red base plate? So I did have two that had the red base plate. I took black magic marker and tried to black it up. I didn't realize at the time that the Highway Patrol carried theirs with red base plates on them for reasons that I don't understand. I don't even pretend to understand. But yeah, anyway, that gun was never registered to my name. Yeah. Back then, it was actually legal for grandparent to child. But if that gun were to ever turn up in a crime scene where it is thought to have been the weapon used, they would come and look for Papa Carey and ask him a whole lot of questions. Fortunately for me and my dad, that weapon was destroyed in a warehouse fire caused when the meth heads that lived next door set their lab on fire. I know exactly where in the warehouse it was. It's overgrown barn is what it was. I know exactly where in there it was because it was, first of all, it was locked up, and second of all, it was under about a quarter ton of trash. It wasn't trash, it was scrap metal and scrap wood and scrap shit that I had some thought maybe I would need. Actually, most of it I would eventually need. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That gun will never turn up. It's gone. Like everything else in that building. These idiots were so busy cooking meth, they didn't realize they literally lived right next door to a kind of facility that I might have some interest in. Shop space of a sort that I might be interested in. Okay, I've been going an hour. Almost an hour. I'm sitting here still kind of shocked. And maybe something happened this afternoon that I didn't hear about. But the moment that Gage took the stand and said what he said, including the part about apparently the DA trying to get him to change his story, this whole thing should have been done. Just done. And that's it. It shouldn't even gone to the DA didn't pull a case. The defense attorney should have said, Your Honor, we're asking for a type of dismissal. And I Viva Free used the technical term because he is an attorney and I am not. And the judge said, yep, you know what? You're right. The prosecution has utterly failed to even try to make their case here and has done such a great job making your case that I'm not going to waste the jury's time with this any further. Apparently they didn't do that. Why? Maybe Kyle told them not to. I don't know. Now Kyle gets on the stand and he's telling his version of the story. And, short version is, if this case isn't pulled by the time I wake up in the morning, you know what? By the time I wake up Friday morning, I will be absolutely fucking dumbstruck. What on earth possesses you to continue with this case? right? This is a shit show of such high magnitude that I could literally go take a crap and you would be better informed. At least you could, let me think about this. You know what? That's pollution. Me shitting in the toilet is pollution. That's a higher crime than what Kyle did. Nobody should be bragging about what happened that night. And having PTSD myself, I can tell you, he's about a year out from what happened. So he's right about the time when that video that's playing in your head has stopped playing on repeat all day long. That's one of the things with, especially with severe PTSD and severe PTSS, that scene, whatever it was, will just keep playing over and over and over in your head, and you can't get it to stop no matter what you do. There's two things you can do. One is go to sleep. That usually works. The other is to drink yourself into oblivion. I can say, as from experience, that drinking yourself into oblivion is not the best plan. It worked, but it was a really bad idea. It's one of the major symptoms of PTSD. You can't escape the fact of the events. So I'm going to throw it out there. Everybody ask me a question that is not ridiculous. And from there, I'm going to answer those questions. While you're thinking about those questions, I'm going to ask everybody to say a little prayer for Kyle. Fuck Gage. He put himself in that position, right? He made a choice to use unlawful force. And he made a choice to use, or to attempt to use, unlawful deadly force. So fuck him. As for Chucklehead and Skateboard, you know what? Skateboard especially made a decision to use unlawful deadly force, and he got the worst of it. Did that to himself too. Chucklehead made a decision, a choice, to use unlawful deadly force, and at least made it look like he was attempting to use a whole lot more unlawful deadly force. And if his idiot plan had worked, he would have been looking at several hundred counts of murder. At very least, several hundred counts of attempted murder. And I can stand by that statement because it happened in San Diego County. For those of you that aren't making the connection yet, I think this is about 5 years ago. The public utility company had just completed a pressure test of their gas main, their 100-year-old gas main. They thought everything was fine. They repressured the line and literally blew an entire block off the face of the earth with everybody in it. I know it got at least up into the double-digit dead. There were actually no survivors from the explosion. Either you were killed or you weren't physically affected by the explosion. Now here's Chucklehead trying to do the same thing. I guess that was one way of expressing his opinion. Okay, Squatch said, so do you decide your topics? Sometimes. Luke asked, do you think Gage will get charged with something? I don't know if there's anything he won't get charged with at this point, including attempted murder and flag on the play. Since I don't know Wisconsin law, I'm not going to say too much here. But I know in all 50 states, if you commit a felony and somebody dies as a result of said felony, that is murder. Some states it's first degree, some states it's second degree. If you rob a bank, right, with no intention of killing anybody, and the security guard shoots an innocent bystander in the crossfire, that's still your murder charge. So yeah, he's fucked himself really good. Oh, Squatch clarified. How do you decide your topics? I pull shit out of my ass. Gulch asks, was Kyle part of the guys guarding the gas station? No. Well, not to the best of my knowledge. He was part of the group that was protecting what was left of the car lot across the street. The gas station may have been part of their plan that I'm never heard until just literally now when I said it myself. But yeah, not to the best of my knowledge, no. He saw the problem developing and he responded in the way that I think they intended for him to respond. It's really simple idea here. There's the fat boy. We know he can't keep up with us. We're going to do something to draw him out, and then we'll gang up on him, take his gun, and if he dies, he dies. Or I don't know, maybe Chucklehead intended to kill him the whole time. If anybody was specifically intending to kill him the whole time, Chucklehead's at the top of my list because he had some serious issues up here. All right. If things had gotten to that point, it won't now. I'd have been happy to testify at his mandatory exemption hearing, not for violent political protester, but for mental illness. Yes, it is very much a time-honored method, Squatch. Actually, sometimes things do come up, and I'm like, oh, cool, I can talk about that. But usually, no, I just pull shit out of my ass. All right. It is now 2000 hours here. I think I beat this horse dead enough. Hope I have. But let me reiterate. The shit show is over, Mr. Binger. And if I were you, I'd start filling out resumes. I've also heard it suggested that Mr. Binger should be facing charges. I don't quite see why. I mean, what's the point of this other than just to harass him? Lose his bar card? Sure. Especially that shoot him in the back thing from opening statements. Everything else, that's just harassment and it's not worth the trouble. Cheese Bear is asking either A, what that is, that's a Coast Guard battle ensign, or what that is, generic Christian flag. That was actually asked earlier this evening. Also, the Chaz and Kenosha and Minneapolis, where all this shit started. Yeah, flag on play. It didn't start in Minneapolis. That was more of powder keg, the first powder keg going off of last summer. I'm old enough to remember the Rodney King riots. And yeah, there's a couple names in the chat that I know are old enough to remember that. And just how fucking insane that shit got. Thank you, Jays. That's right. Tomorrow, is Veterans Day. So I'm going to lead off with that. There were people evacuating Los Angeles back in 93. There were people evacuating Minneapolis last year. There were people evacuating New York, and to the best of my knowledge, there were no major riots in New York. One of them I had hoped would be here tonight, and is not. That's not a surprise. I'm not her favorite person. Squatch can testify what my language can get like. And I may have used a word that she does not like. So she's still pretty mad at me. But yeah, she had to abandon New York for a couple of days when it was about to blow up there. Be ready. I call this the get home bag for a reason. It's so you can get from school or work to your house and nothing more. I know a lot of people talk about bug out bags. First of all, I don't believe in bug out bags. You can never carry enough to actually bug out. But second of all, that get home bag, I toss it in my car, grab a few gallon bottles of water. Now it's my bug out bag. Thank you, Squatch. I got Squatch in a little bit of trouble. What was it, 2-3 weeks ago because of my language. Cheese Bear says he's going to use his ear filters to ignore my language. I know every single racist, sexist, homophobic, I forgot the other one, word. And I have called myself each and every last one of them. All of it rolls off my back, and some of it's kind of funny. Did you know there is no bad word for a homosexual male in Japanese? I spent 2 weeks trying to find the derogatory word for a homosexual male in Japanese. It doesn't exist. I got close. A word that literally translates into pot, which apparently is also the word for a homosexual female in Japanese. Pot as in cooking pot. And it's still not considered derogatory. So when I refer to myself as an Okama on Yoko's channel, she looks at me like I'm weird, and that's it. If I'm willing to go there here, imagine what I'm willing to go to when people aren't listening in. Yes, Squatch, pot, like putting meat in. Exactly. Apparently it is a particular type of pot, somewhere between a kettle and a pasta pot. Kettle like for stews, and a pasta pot, if I understood the term correctly. Anyway, get your get home bag together. Hopefully in the next couple weeks I will have this one ready and finished and ready for the long video that'll need to be chopped up into the pieces you actually need. Short version. That's about 3 times what it should be. It is what it is. A lot of it was things that you don't actually need for a get home bag, but you might need for a much more serious situation. All right, we're about 12:15 now, or 1:15 now. I'm going to go another 15-ish minutes, and then I'm going to wrap this on up. You saw last summer how fast shit can explode. All right. What was it? 3 days from the Floyd incident to the riots, and then just 3 months of riots. Right? Last summer, I actually had to race back to California for a little while because there was a wildfire that was endangering Papa Carey's place. I took time off of work, raced down, it's about a 2-hour drive, so 3, something like that, hour drive. I did what I needed to do at Papa Carey's place, and then I raced home again, just in time, actually, to do the live stream. Was it third week of August? No, third week of June. And then I did the live stream and turned around and raced back to Dad's place. That's because this wildfire that was threatening Dad's place was not an accident. And I'm not some kind of crazy conspiracy theory shit here. There's been an arrest. The woman claims she was out there trying to set the fire to boil water. Nobody believes her story. The courts just can't prove that her intention was to destroy Uh, Probably Mountain Gate. No, not Mountain Gate. God damn it. Bernie Falls. Her intention was probably to destroy Bernie Falls, and something went weird, and she ended up way the hell east of there, out at Greenville. I think it's Greenville, and destroyed that city instead. And it's going to keep getting worse. Okay. I'm going to catch up on chat real quick because I saw something caught my attention. Squatch, you're not a terrible person. At least you're a human being. I beat that charge. Luke, I remember that. That was a couple weeks ago. Cheesebear asks, if you were to bug out to another country, what would be your first choice? Well, you know what? With my dual citizenship, first choice would probably be to go to Canada. My second choice would be Australia, but well, let's just say I'm not flying. Cheesebear and Squatch want me to run to Florida. That's still the United States, guys. And in Florida, apparently they have snakes that eat alligators. Okay. That's a good point. Kind of over it now, but it's still the United States. So yeah, my first choice would be Canada. I hate the cold. And I hate the cold. Canada in summer is still cold. But I would actually be in my legal country. Yeah, it is nice. I'm not even going to pretend to understand what this thing about Florida suddenly is. My third choice, by the way, would be Guam. Because from Guam, I could at least go see Japan. That would be cool. Oh, might meet a few people. And stay at a pod hotel, since I have such an interest in pod hotels. Moving on, though. All right, guys. I'm going to kind of wrap it up out here because I have been going since 0400 this morning. So I'm at 16 hours already, and I got about 2 more to go. Eek. Oh. One last little piece of advice. Don't be an arrogant ass. If you need glasses, if you need hearing aids, if you need whatever, just get them. Get it over with. Yeah, geez, yeah. Hold up. Alpine's got an excellent recommendation. Let's all meet in Cabo, that's Cabo San Lucas, and take a sailboat. Well, first of all, I was a bosun's mate, so I can handle all of the navigation and most of the OOD duties. We'll talk about who beats captain later. And once I get the hang of the sailing part, I can even handle most of that. So this might not be such a batshit crazy idea. And other than we're going to sail around Costa Rica, I have no idea what's going on there, and I'm not going to ask. Well, no, it's, most of the types of boats I actually have any experience with are big enough to handle, or to have, a ship's launch. So here's what we're going to do instead. All right. We are going to set the boat to just circle about 20 miles off of Costa Rica. And a few of us will go ashore with some money or gold or something and buy food and booze and have a pretty good night, and then come back, and Cheese Bear can hear all about it when we get back. Yeah, Squatch, unfortunately, the Squatch says he loves boats. I can hotwire most engines, all engines given time. The problem is, how much fuel do we have? All right, that's the inevitable thing. If you don't have any fuel, you're not going anywhere. I'm just saying. And if you know how to build a hydrogen generator, maybe we can talk. Oh, by the way, you've got to build it out of scrap parts, because that's all we're going to have. All right. Luke, hit me up on Discord. I want to hear about that 57, which, by the way, I know what I'm saying. For the rest of you, unless you are exempt and planning on trying to blow up or make people think you're going to blow up a gas station, I'm going to wrap it up here with keep calm and mandatory carry on.